Welcome to my channel, I'm Dr. MBA. Today's video is also quite interesting. No matter what the sport is, what athletes must possess is their ability and skill trait, which determines the base of their salary and the amount of honor they get. However, these fundamental aspects are derived from the fans and their interest and support, and in order to maintain this, every year athletes show diverse showmanship in events and do what it takes to improve their performance. Namely, fan service is essential to all athletes in terms of the NBA, where the world's best basketball players are gathered. High-fiving and also hugging the fans are the basics. And taking photos, signing their sporting goods, and giving away their jerseys, and even shoes that they wore during the game, are some examples of their fan services that make fans' experiences a lot more memorable. On that note, today, I will be talking about a player who has the biggest heart and consideration for his fans. His name is Donovan Mitchell, who not only possesses great charm, but also great personality. Since a rookie, his potential was like no other, to the point where he was already the team's key player. On top of that, he gets along well with his teammates. Because of his positive personality and friendly communication with his fans, the love he receives from them is still growing. In this video, I'd like to tell you the story of his journey, how he became a leader within his team, and how he's developed such a positive mindset toward his fans, despite having had no intention of succeeding or planning on having success in basketball. Elmsford, New York, 1996, Donovan Mitchell was born. He was influenced by his father, who was a professional baseball player in the early 90s, and started playing many sports since a young age. Of them all, he started playing basketball first. He also enjoyed playing baseball because of his father. It could be because he had sports genes inside his DNA, but Mitchell showed potential in both sports and was lucky enough to get a scholarship as a student athlete to attend Greenwich Country Day School, a private school known to have extremely expensive tuition fees. At the time, Mitchell was pretty much the only African American kid around. Seeing his friends' luxurious lifestyle and mansions, he did not want to be shocked, but he was always in shock nevertheless. His father was not a Major League Baseball player, but actually a minor league player. And even then, he only played for 7 years, so his family was financially unstable. They were poor beyond imagination, to a point where he couldn't even buy a pair of new pants, and Mitchell inevitably experienced a sense of deprivation. However, because of his positive personality, he got along with everyone despite race and financial status. In order to grow as a self-made man, he set the professional league as his goal and devoted his time to baseball and basketball. As a result, in 8th grade, he was the best basketball player in his school, and his vertical and athletic ability were well developed, allowing him to dunk despite his short height. However, Mitchell's top priority wasn't basketball, it was actually baseball. So after entering high school, he dreamt of joining the major league and started training as a pitcher and shortstop. But one day during a game, he had an accident and fractured his wrist, so he decided to give up on baseball and resolved to putting his life on the line for basketball, his second best solution. He moved to a different high school as a new chapter and gave it his all there. The GOAT, Michael Jordan, played as a baseball player for a while, and taking on his number 45, Mitchell started playing with passion and always broke through the court with his vigorous movements. Whether it be in or out of the paint, he fired all types of shots, and the most impressive thing about him was his dunk, that was driven by a high jump following an instant acceleration. Due to this performance, he won the championship for 2 consecutive years in the national tournament, and through that was offered admission by 15 universities. Skilled and talented enough to rank 43rd among the nation's high school player prospects, Mitchell decided to attend University of Louisville. However, unlike what he expected, his position during freshman year was merely a bench player and nothing more, so he would cry and sob in fear of not making it to the NBA. But Mitchell, instead of breaking down due to lack of confidence, he used it as motivation to train harder every day, and because of his hard work and constant efforts, he was chosen as a starter after entering his sophomore year. Before starting the new season, he told his parents that they wouldn't have to work anymore, and that he will do what it takes to succeed. And to keep his word, Mitchell ran on the court and played each game like it's his last. And as a result, his skills and stats both improved, and was judged to be a promising candidate in the draft. Although at first he was expected to be drafted in the mid-20s because of his height, he went around showing his skills to various teams during the workout. And through that, Mitchell gained a lot of attention from numerous teams. And finally, he was drafted as the 13th pick, and at the same time was traded off to the Utah Jazz and received their jersey. Donovan Mitchell fulfilled his dream and entered the NBA. But after joining the team, he realized his new team was in a crisis. Gordon Hayward, who carried the Utah Jazz for the past 7 years and the main scorer of the team, decided to leave. So the Jazz were absolutely devastated and were desperate to find someone to take on his place. At that time, Mitchell was only 6'1", so the majority showed no interest and viewed him as a negative player. But just then, during the summer league where rookie players' potential is tested, Mitchell overcame all the negative comments and scored an average of 28 points, was ranked first in offense, and at the same time showed his best performance in defense with an average of 6 steals. Although he was short in height, his unbelievable 6'8" wingspan covered his height, which was deemed as a disadvantage and was no longer an issue. Furthermore, he was thought to only be useful in offense, but he also showed his ability in defense, making the Jazz extremely content. Therefore, starting the regular season, Mitchell was a bench member for only 8 games and immediately became a starter after that. Despite being a rookie, he was responsible of his team's score and was pressured to be placed in that position. However, he repeatedly reassured himself and stepped on the court with confidence. No matter how strong the opponent he played against and what the outcome of the game was, his personal scoring ability skyrocketed each game. And these growths and his dynamic performances shocked worldwide NBA fans. And on December 1st, 2017, he scored a total of 41 points, won the game despite the absence of his team's key player, and once again, surprised the fans. Following this, the head coach planned a tactical play revolving around Mitchell and told the other players to spare no passes and screens for a rookie who just joined the team. Mitchell's offensive skills were advanced enough to be recognized by many. Maintaining a steady shooting form after receiving a pass and making a three-pointer was a piece of cake. Going for a jump shot while consistently dribbling or making a quick decision by taking a step-back shot, he was able to execute all of them without a problem. On top of that, he took advantage of the screens given to him, and his fast speed and unpredictable offbeat fakes that allowed him to drive through was unstoppable even for the veterans in the league. And plus that, avoiding the block and releasing a double clutch, releasing the ball in the air and shooting a floater, or just straight up dunking, even if there's someone in front of him. These were the kind of plays he showed. Other than that, Mitchell's animal-like swiftness, basketball IQ, and his broad perspective allows precise passing, which was complemented by many superstars. He continued to grow without a fallout, and once again showed that he was on fire through a dunk contest by imitating the dunk of Vince Carter, who was known as the Dr. Funk, and his infamous elbow dunk. Mitchell had the honor of winning that contest. And after that, he showed consistent performance and brought the Jazz to 5th place in the Western Conference. And even though it was his first experience in the playoffs, he showed better performance in the regular season. At that time, Oklahoma City Thunder was the most likely team to win the championship, and instead of being intimidated, the Jazz won by 4-2. Mitchell's average score in the first round was 28.5 points, and even if he missed all his three-pointers, he wasn't discouraged by it, but rather remained in high spirits and played his own way. In Game 6, people wondered whether he had experienced this game already, and after making 38 points, he was able to advance into the second round. Prompting a craze in the Jazz and defeating the Thunder, Mitchell rose to the second round, and there, he played against superstar James Harden, who was carrying the Houston Rockets. Mitchell, who didn't care who the opponent was, played like he normally did with confidence and showed outstanding shooting ability. However, despite what he expected, Harden was a much more powerful player, and the Rockets' defense was extremely stable. In Game 1, Mitchell scored 21 points, but Harden fired back with 41 points, doubling Mitchell's score. And not wanting to surrender this, Mitchell attempted to drive the basket to the rim, but was unfortunately blocked and even made fun of by the center of the Houston Rockets. It seemed as though he maintained his mentality, However, his three-point shot success rate hit rock bottom at 25%, and his performance was destroyed, and he even lost his cool. And in the end, James Harden would defeat him with a score of 4-1. And even though he had the highest average score among the rookies, the Rookie of the Year award was taken from Mitchell and was given to a returning player that was injured for a year named Ben Simmons. And the following season, the two anticipated games played against the Rookie of the Year, Simmons, ended with Mitchell's loss. Of the 11 3-points Mitchell attempted to shoot in the first game, he only made 1, and in the second game, he only made 3 of 10 shots he took. His field goal percentage was an absolute mess, and he showed similar performance in other games as well. Only beginning the second year of his career, his skills were already declining. His career was at risk, but Mitchell could not let it fall this way. He sought out to senior basketball players for advice and reached out to Dwayne Wade, the 16-year-old superstar, who was about to retire. Starting from how to overcome his slump to other advices, he received counseling for other options in different categories for 2 whole hours. Surprisingly, Mitchell's athletic ability was slowly coming back to life. His offense became more vigorous starting January. Many strong teams were losing their game due to this, and scoring over 20 points felt easy to him. Consecutively scoring 30 points, which is not easy, he marked his career high of 46 points twice. His sharp dribble drive motion skills often left other players humiliated and became more flawless. And on top of that, his shot success rate, his assists, and average points also showed improvement compared to his first year. And thanks to Mitchell, the Jazz entered the Western Conference at 5th place, but unluckily, was faced with the Houston once again. In spite of him usually being brazen-faced because of his trauma from a year ago, and the fact that he was still unexperienced, the Jazz's defense was being demolished by the 2-time consecutive top scorer James Harden, and Mitchell was unable to keep his cool and continued to fire shots irrationally. As a result, during the first 2 away games, they experienced a crushing defeat of 32 and 20-point deficit games, and also lost in Game 3 and Game 5, and once again knelt down before the Houstons. Though he was on fire during the middle of the game and scored over 30 points and won that game, a temporary on-fire moment was nowhere near enough to bring down James Harden. Though he did his best, but couldn't do anything, Mitchell experienced a 2-time crushing defeat. However, despite this, he always gave it his all on the court and showed steady improvement, and now that he is entering his 3rd year, fans show more support and compassion rather than criticizing him, and despite his performance outcome, there's another reason to why he was supported by many people. His love and warm heart for his fans and people that associated with him was like no other. He always showed gratitude to his fans who came to support him and his team, and never hesitated to give back to them. He always greeted them with bright smiles and also gave high fives and hugs. On top of that, he gave his younger fans his jersey and shoes, giving them a lifelong memory, and not just giving them his autograph, but making small talk or giving them a word of blessing. Furthermore, outside of court, he was active in charity work and donations. Looking back at his childhood and experiencing immense poverty to the point where he couldn't even afford a pair of pants, he had a strong will to help those who were experiencing such life and gave out stationery supplies to the children, funded tuition fees, and contributed to social activities in many ways. Other than that, he also invited a kid battling cancer to the stadium and showed great performance that day. And also sent a text and a ticket to a kid who experienced racism to have him come to the stadium and gave him a gift and also a word of comfort. Whether it be his fans or not, he helped people who were living in poverty by making the payments on their behalf in supermarkets and phone repairman stores. Mitchell showed a lot of fan service and engagement in social contribution and is still ongoing today. Always making sure to shine light in people's lives and making the atmosphere around him brighter, and also spreading positive energy, Donovan Mitchell is showing steady personal improvements and spreading hope to fans all around the world. This is it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back with more content. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe.